I just got my very first blowout, so I'm feeling bougie. Just a random Friday, just a random blowout on a Friday. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be running you through a couple of my tips and tricks for starting your own business, which is something that I've never done on this channel. I've never really crossed over my personal social media with my business social media, but over the past 6 to 12 months that I've been growing my online store, I have just fallen in love with business, which is very odd because at school, business studies, not my subject. Bottom of the class, I was. Yep. So for today's video, I figured I would just sit down and share my top 5 tips for starting your own business. So these 5 things are things that I wish I knew at the very beginning and that I wish I started to implement into my business plan and my business from the very, very beginning. And there are also things that not everybody talks about or knows about. So if you do like this video and you would like to see more business related videos on my YouTube channel, because this is very different for me, then definitely make sure to give this one a thumbs up, and please let me know in a comment down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel right down below if you haven't already. And if you'd like to hear about my top 5 tips for starting your very own business, then just keep on watching. So the very first and most important tip that I have to share with you is that TikTok and Instagram Reels will be your best friend. Instagram Reels and TikToks are the number 1 source of traffic to my website. It's the best way that I found to promote my business and to get my products seen by a large number of people at one time. I personally have my very own business TikTok and my very own business Instagram, and I started those from zero. Absolutely not. And from starting at zero, I've grown my TikTok following for my business to 16.2k, and my business Instagram is now at 600 followers, I think. So you don't need a following to start with to get numbers and views like that. So in saying all of that, TikTok and Instagram are great, but you have to be very, very consistent to be able to see results. So for my business TikTok, I post 3 to 4 TikToks a day. And then for my business Instagram, I post at least 1 reel a day and at least 3-ish feed posts per week. So for these particular social medias to work to your advantage, you need to be posting content regularly. So what I normally do is set aside 1 or 2 days of the week to just sit down and bulk film TikToks and Reels. I film everything on the TikTok app and then I reuse my TikToks for Instagram. So it's not even like I'm creating whole new videos for each platform. I'm literally taking my TikToks and putting them on a separate platform. I found that this way works best because it maximizes the amount of people that can see your content. And I don't know, I know a lot of people prefer TikTok to Instagram Reels. I know people that prefer Instagram Reels to TikTok. Personally, I'm a TikToker. I never watch Instagram Reels, but a lot of my Instagram Reels have done really, really well, and I've gotten quite a few sales from Instagram as well. I personally love batch filming my content because it means that I only really need to get ready like 1 or 2 days a week, and then for the rest of the week I can just sit behind the camera and on my computer and my editing apps and putting everything together. I always try and have at least 20 drafts ready to go. Jumping on trends and using popular sounds is also a really, really good way to get discovered. I think that's all I had to say on that little TikTok Instagram spiel. I just cannot recommend enough Instagram and TikTok. I have a couple of friends who also own small businesses and I just see them not utilizing TikTok and Instagram as much as they should. And it's so hard because I know how daunting it is to put yourself out there and to put your face like on social media, especially if you have never done it before. I know it's easier said than done, but honestly, if you want your business to succeed and you love it that much, you really need to not give a fuck about what anyone else thinks. Moving on to tip number 2, which is always be prepared to sell out. This is something that I had heard other business owners talk about and say, but it was something that I never really thought would happen to me. You need to be prepared for that video to go viral, for that video to get thousands of views. You need to be prepared for that, because when it does, and if you put in the work, it will, you want to be able to have stock to sell to all of these people that are now finding your stuff. So in my personal experience, I ended up having a business TikTok of mine go, I don't know if I would say viral, but it's got over 100,000 views. And from that video came a ton of sales. I completely sold out of every single product on my store. And because a lot of my products are coloring books and they're the things that sold out, they take quite a while to be printed and to be shipped to me, like at least 2 to 3 weeks. So once I sold out, there was people waiting for like 2 or 3 weeks, which sucks, because if the product isn't readily available for the person who has just watched the video, then it leaves space for them to be like, oh, it's not in sale, I'll come back to it later, keep scrolling, and they don't save the link. They don't follow you, they don't save the link, and they just continue scrolling. And honestly, learned that shit the hard way. I know that having large amounts of stock, especially when you're a small business, can tend to be pretty difficult, but it's definitely worth the investment, because you don't want people showing up to your website and you constantly being sold out of stock. On another side note, it's also a very stressful feeling on yourself, because you've got people messaging you all the time being like, when's this coming back in stock? I really want this. When is it coming back in stock? And you're just sitting there and you're like, oh my God, I promise it's coming soon. I'm doing everything that I can. For me personally, I have a bookshelf over to the side here, and it's completely stocked at all times of all of my products. Moving on to tip number 3, which is to create a personal relationship between you and your customers. This is something that I haven't really heard many other business owners talk about, but it's something that I personally have recognized as being such an important thing. Creating that personal relationship between you and your customer creates a connection that keeps the customer coming back. And a returning customer is so much better than 10 different one-time customers. And here's why. Having customers that come back for every single release, every single restock, every single time you post on social media is so much more important, not only for your social media's engagement, but also their guaranteed sales every time you release something new and every single time you post content. I found personally that my loyal customers have ended up being like my best friends. We always chat in Instagram DMs and we talk about how they're going with their coloring ins, and I love it when they send me photos of their interpretations of my coloring in books, and even photos when they receive products in the mail, which is so much more special to me than getting any random sale from any random person. Every single sale is a blessing to me and I'm so incredibly grateful, but creating that friendship between you and your customers is so important for keeping them coming back. Obviously you can't be besties with every single person that follows you on social media. That would take up a lot of time, but I don't know. It's definitely a tip that I would share with anyone that's just starting out. Moving on to tip number 4, which is downloading the app UNUM. Or UNUM. If you guys have seen any of my What's on my iPhone videos, you would have heard me talk about the app UNUM. This is an Instagram feed planning app, and I have used this for years. Years and years and years and years and years. I've used this for my personal Instagram, and that's how I get my very aesthetic, purposely planned out feed for my personal Instagram. And I also use it for my business Instagram to plan out my feed posts as well. I do find this app particularly helpful for my small business. Not only can I plan out my feed to make it look aesthetic and all coordinated and pretty and stuff like that. If I know that I have a product launch coming up in 2 weeks' time, then I know that I need to post like 3 or 4 photos before I post the photo of the product that I'm launching on the day that I'm launching it, if that makes any sense at all. This app is perfect if you are into social media at all, whether you just enjoy making your own personal feed pretty or whether you want to go into the finer details of planning out posts for your business. This app is one that I would recommend to anyone, and it's free, which thank you, UNUM. And with all of that being said, it brings me to the very last tip, which is tip number 5. And tip number 5 is try not to worry too much about numbers. And this is something that I struggle with daily. I think because I have had one of my videos blow up and do so well, and from that I got so many sales. I constantly look at numbers as a reflection of sales, which is such a bad headspace to get into. Just because one of your videos only gets a couple of hundred views compared to a couple of 100,000 views doesn't mean that you're not gonna get a ton of sales from that. 100 views is 100 people, which is 100 different chances for someone to purchase your products, which is still a lot of freaking people. 100 people is a lot. I feel like social media has kind of taken the meaning away from numbers themselves. You look at 100 views and you're like, oh my God, that's like nothing. 100 views, 50 views, nothing. But when you take a step back, you sit down and you think about 100 people. 100 people is a lot of freaking people. That's 200 eyes looking at your stuff. But trying not to get into the headspace of views equals money is a very, very challenging thing to do. But if you genuinely love what you're doing and you love creating content every single day, then the views really shouldn't matter at the end of it. They shouldn't deter you from making more content, promoting your business. Low views should honestly motivate you to make more, to push to be better. And the more content you make and produce supporting your business, the more views when you think about it. At the end of the day, if you don't genuinely love every single part of what you do, you're just not gonna get to where you want to be. And if you do, and you keep pushing forward and you keep creating even when it seems like you're getting nowhere, then I promise you that one day you will succeed. You will get there, we all will. Don't rush the process, because the process is necessary to teach us everything that we need to know in order to continue running a successful, bigger business in the future. So with all of that being said, they were my top 5 tips on starting your very own business from someone who has been running her own for almost a year now. Crazy. Insanity. I gotta try and think of some sort of party or something to do for when we do hit 1 year. I'm very excited. If you did find this video helpful and you would like me to create more business style type of content, then definitely make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel right down below if you haven't already. And with all that being said, I love you all very much and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye.